Hello, everybody. I just wanted to make a quick Marvel Rivals tier list. I know the season's coming to an end. Like 10 days left, I believe. Either way, I think the game's been out long enough that people are starting to get more of an understanding of how characters work. I believe a lot of the initial tier lists aren't really accurate anymore. A lot of initial thoughts might not be so similar to how they were. Um, So I think now is a good time to create a tier list. I think I'll create an updated one when season one's been out for probably a week or so. But I'm going to create this one here now. These are my own opinions. They might not line up with other people's opinions. Um, so take that as you may. This list does not mean this is the strength of each heroes. These are just my opinions, okay? The first hero we're going to get into is Adam Warlock. Adam Warlock's a very strong support, in my opinion. Uh, his damage output is really good. He has good healing. It's very high burst healing. And his ult is quite the game changer, being able to turn fights around if used properly, or completely waste it if used incorrectly. So there is some skill involved there. But with damage and such passive high burst healing, he's very good. I wouldn't say he's as good as others, but he is very good. And his cocoon passive is probably the best part of him, actually. Just being able to get 2 lives is very powerful, especially on your healer. I'm going to put him in A tier. I don't think he's quite S tier because his healing does have limited use. It's a very high burst. He's got 2 charges and stuff, but you've got the cooldown on it. So I'm putting him in A tier. Black Panther. Okay, Black Panther I initially thought sucked. I I thought this guy was terrible. As time has gone on, I don't think that's the case anymore. I think Black Panther's really good. There's a lot of skill expression in Black Panther, uh, but his mobility is insane if you play him correctly, and it makes hitting him and killing him super difficult. He may not be the fastest at killing people, but he's got the AoE damage, so he can deal damage to a lot of people quickly and do it while remaining relatively safe. I think Black Panther is probably the best melee DPS hero in the game. Um, Maybe even best melee hero in the game. That's up for debate though, and we'll get there when we get there. But best melee DPS hero. There's a lot of skill expression involved, and there's a lot more inputs involved in killing someone with him than there is on someone, for example, Hela, who just has to hit left click. So that's why I don't think he's quite the strength of characters like Hela. So I'm going to put him in A tier as well, just because it's a lot of work to kill someone. I think that's why he's not S tier in my book. Black Widow. Um, Black Widow sucks. Her damage is really bad. Her ult is useless. Her mobility is terrible. She doesn't have like anything going for her. I will real quick. I'm actually going to delete this tier. I don't think we need this tier, but I'm going to keep this tier exclusively for Black Widow. Uh, I think if she had a one shot like Hawkeye, that's probably the only way she would be better. But I also don't want that in the game. Um, I don't know. Maybe there's other ways they could make her better. Especially her ult. Her ult needs to be better. The, I did actually see an interesting Black Widow player where they were melee Black Widow going in, hitting twice with the knockback and grapple into a shot to kill someone. It was a pretty cool combo, and I actually think that might be better than just sniping on her. However, even that is still not really good because she doesn't have mobility to get into melee range really. And then, well, once you do that, and now you've got to wait for cooldowns and you don't have an escape. She's just vulnerable. Black Widow is not good. Hulk. Now, Hulk's another character that a lot of people just didn't give a second thought to. They were like, yeah, he's below average, and just disregarded him. But now, Hulk, I think's really good. Um, this is the other hero that I think's probably in contention with best melee hero in the game. Uh, he's just difficult to play, just like Black Panther. But his incredible leap is probably the best movement a tank has. I know Venom's got his swing, which does cover more ground than Hulk, but Hulk's incredible leap literally has no cooldown. It's always up. And me playing Hulk, I've been able to slam Iron Mans out of the sky with it. You're always able to jump in and out of the fight. Plenty of times I jump in, it's not going well. Very simple to just jump out. You're not risking a lot. His left shift is really good at countering everything. Uh, Jeff the Shark ulting beneath you and your team. You left shift, now no one on your team's getting eaten by that Jeff the Shark. Iron Man pulse coming out and no one kills. No one is able to kill the Iron Man. Left shift, your team's safe. It's such a good defensive ability to block these big game-changing abilities. Then Exile is really good. While in fights, you can exile supports to guarantee kills, or you can exile people while they're casting ults. Like Scarlet Witch starts ulting, exile her now. That's not something you have to worry about. Not that Scarlet Witch is any good, but that's besides the point. His right click is decent. It's better when you learn how to use it properly, because if you aim it just to the side of heroes, it can hit multiple people rather than just hitting one on impact. Then his ult is really good because it makes him have a lot of health. Swinging people around, just knocking them back. It's good. Makes his right click have way shorter of a cooldown and makes it just go through everyone regardless. So you just spam that. Never hit the second cast on his ult. That thing's pretty awful. I think the only situations I ever actually do end up hitting it is if my ult's about to end and there's just one person left. Then I'll hit them with it because they're gonna die. Otherwise, if you hit someone with his second cast of the ult and they have a healer, that person's coming out full health. Like, it's really bad second cast. The only problem with his ult is you lose access to his left shift, which, like, he gets a ton of health during it, so it's not that problematic for himself. but it does remove his ability to counter ults and crowd control and things like that. So that's the downside of his ult. The other big downside to Hulk is he is kind of easy to kill if the Hulk doesn't play correctly. Um, he's he doesn't have like the ability of Doctor Strange where he can just throw up a shield whenever, but he does have the mobility. So I'm putting him in A tier. I think he's really good. Uh, and he does have his Gamma combo with Strange and Iron Man, who we'll get to in a bit. But I'm putting Hulk in A tier. I think he's really good. Captain America. Whew, Captain America is not good. I don't think he's the worst because he is kind of hard to kill. He's got good mobility with his sprint. His shield bash, though, and his leap. I can't think of the name of his leap. Fearless leap? Is that what it's called? I think so. They both deal terrible damage. I think it's like 30. There's almost no reason to use those abilities other than for the movement aspect. I think uh, they should get something on them. Captain America has no form of crowd control. I think maybe if those abilities did have a form of crowd control, that could help. Like I don't even necessarily think they would need to increase the damage on those abilities if they added CC to them. Like Fearless Leap slows or something. His little shield bash, maybe it stuns for a second. Or they could just increase the damage on them. But the way they stand right now, those two abilities are terrible. His shield is decent. It is low health at 400, and it's a personal shield. He doesn't protect his team at all, other than people, I guess, directly behind him. So that's the downside of his shield. But it does deflect things, which is good. However, I think in comparison to Strange's shield has more health and it protects his team. I know it's going to take more damage in theory because it has a larger area, but it's just a better shield because it's more health and it's giving him protection to his team. And a tank should have the ability to protect their team. Captain America's ult is also kind of underwhelming. I mean, Captain America's like impossible to kill during it, but it just whenever I'm playing against Captain America and he ults, I just feel like, okay, we just don't worry about Captain America right now and focus other people, because even though they get buffs, you can still kill them during it. And Captain America's damage is terrible. He doesn't deal any damage, and he has to be in melee range for it. The only thing Captain America is a nuisance, really. He is hard to kill, but he's probably, yeah, I'm gonna say he's probably the worst tank in the game. He needs some buffs to damage and give him some other type of utility. I'm gonna put him in C tier for Captain America. I know I said a lot of negative things about him, but he is really hard to kill. And a lot of people will waste a lot of time trying to kill him and chase him down. You can't chase down Captain America. When he starts sprinting away, just give up. Just let him go. Worry about his team. But he is really hard to kill. That's what he's got going for him. Cloak and Dagger. So Cloak and Dagger is really good. I do think they have a decent bit of skill expression in terms of which form you should be in when. But Dagger's healing is really high. And Cloak has really good utility. I know Cloak's supposed to be the DPS version. When I'm playing Cloak and Dagger, I don't use them like that. I just use Cloak for the utility aspects. with the left shift, either to protect myself if I'm getting dove, or to protect my team, similarly to Hulk's left shift. Um, Cloak's like little purple wall ability, that thing also makes enemies take bonus damage on top of blinding them. That's really good. Switch to Cloak real quick to throw that out so your team can deal more damage and switch back to Dagger to go back to healing them. That's good. Then Cloak and Dagger's ultimate is also really good for keeping your team alive. I know it deals damage to the enemy, but it's not an incredible amount of damage. But the healing on it is incredible. Uh, just cover the main fight area while that thing's going off. Your team's not dying there. Cloak and Dagger is very good. However, I don't think they're quite as good as the two best supports, and I think that's because the two best supports also have ults that will keep your team alive without it being limited to an area like Cloak and Daggers. Cloak and Dagger, though, very good. Very high healing. Very good utility. I'm putting them in A tier, not quite S tier. Doctor Strange. This is our first S tier hero. I don't even need to explain before throwing them up in S tier. Everyone knows Doctor Strange is S tier. He has a very strong shield that is capable of protecting his team. His E is a good AoE damage. He's got good damage for being how protective he is for his team. He still has really good damage with his left click and E. And the fact that meleeing also builds up dark magic for his E. Good combos. His portal is such a strong piece of utility. Able to get back to points, able to attack points from unique angles, even able to create combos with like different heroes shooting through it, like Punisher, Turret, and stuff like that. Like, Portal's very strong. His shield's very strong. He also has the levitating cloak when he's in a pickle and needs to get out. It's also really good because Hela, very strong hero, when she's ulting, you can levitate and shield right in front of the ult, and now her ult's just useless. Doctor Strange is super strong. I can't even really think of weaknesses to him. I guess other than melee because he can't shield it. But then he just flies away. Very good hero. Groot. Groot, my placement of Groot might be a little controversial. It might not be what everyone else. Uh, People might not agree with my placement of Groot. But I think Groot is very good. Um, his walls are very annoying to deal with because they're blocking off all sorts of angles. You have to play around them. He can cut off tanks that are pushed past his team, and now this tank has to deal with them alone. The strangle or the Thornlash walls deal really good damage when used correctly. And then his Ironwood wall heals him, which is nice. I think it's really good, especially if you feel like you're not getting the healing you need from your healers. Pick Groot, now you've got some of your own healing. His ult is also super strong. Able to bring people in together, put Thornlash walls around them, right click them. It's a lot of damage. There's things to counter it. Even basic abilities like disregarding ultimates that counter it, there are basic abilities that counter it, like Loki's healing runes and Cloak's right click will out heal any damage it deals. So you do have to play around cooldowns if you want to make the most of his ult, but if you do that, his ult is fight changing, and I'm putting him in 8 tier. I also don't think I mentioned Doctor Strange's ult. Doctor Strange's ult is super strong. Just an AoE stun, and when comboed with his E, can one-shot people. It's very strong. Hawkeye. So Hawkeye is a very strong DPS hero. Only hero that has one shot on just their basic attack. Um, his basic abilities are not great. Like his left shift is not very useful. His E is, I guess, okay for the little slow it gives, the little exploding arrow. His 2, when you switch to the explosive arrow tips, I forget he even has that. I don't know why you would ever use that over just his generic attack that can one-shot people. Never used his secondary attack. Then his mobility, his little double jump thing, is also like a really weak mobility ability. But just the fact that he can one shot and just has such a high damage output with his basic attack makes him incredibly strong. And his ult is really good because you can kill people even once they do go out of their way to hide from you. Very strong. Very strong. Hela. Hela is S tier. She is so overpowered. Her left click deals crazy damage, two-shotting people with crazy high rate of fire. Her right click is not the craziest, but it does have good burst that you can just throw out every now and then. Her E being crowd control makes hitting those left clicks way easier, and her ult is really good, being able to turn fights around. Um, there's a lot she has going on for her. Her left shift is also great use of mobility. Uh, if you do get dove in the back line, you reposition with the bird. You can also reposition up higher for better angles. Uh, just very straightforward character. Left click, kill people. Iron Fist. Iron Fist, I don't think is good. I know a lot of people complain about Iron Fist, especially supports, getting in the back line, punching them and stuff, but his damage is actually not that great. He does have like the ability to escape when you like run on walls and stuff, but like the amount of work it takes for him to get in the back line and start doing things is a lot, and it doesn't feel worth it. Um, I feel like he has to put in so much effort in order to do things that it's just not worth it, and I don't think he deals enough damage to go back and just quickly kill people. I think you're much better just picking someone like Black Panther, who I believe actually kills a single target faster and has the AoE damage plus the crazy mobility. I Iron Fist is just bad. Iron Man. Iron Man is very interesting because realistically, there's like four spots he could be on this tier list based off of other contributing factors. Because when he's comboed with Hulk, that Gamma Beam is really strong. The damage is really high. Um, but then when Hela and Hawkeye are on the enemy team, now he's been countered pretty heavily. Uh, and those heroes can kill him with not a lot of effort. I think if you take, if you like ban Hela and Hawkeye, and you have Hulk on your team, Iron Man could probably be considered S tier. He's very oppressive in that situation. take away the Hulk, but keep the Hella Hawkeye band, he's probably going to be A tier. If you take away Hulk, but add Hella Hawkeye, I'm probably putting him down here somewhere. Not great, but I think overall, I'm probably going to put him in B tier as a good average, um, just because of how much his position can change here. He can be very he can be very oppressive in the right situation, especially because in high ranks, Helen and Hawkeye are banned a lot. So in higher ranks, he's probably more frequently up here in S or A tier, just because Helen and Hawkeye are not on the board. When they are on the board, though, he does fall down. I'm just going to put him in a B tier as a good, solid um, average. Jeff the Shark. Jeff the Land Shark is really bad. Uh, his healing output is so low. I'm pretty sure it's the lowest out of all the healers. He just does not have good healing. And on top of that, he doesn't have like any utility. He has the bubbles that give movement speed, sure, but that's it. He doesn't do anything for his team. His ult is the best part about him, I would say, and it's really annoying when he eats everyone and just jumps off the map. Like, that's annoying. But when Hulk or Cloak and Dagger are on the team, they completely counter his ult. They just hit left shift, and now his ult doesn't do anything. And those are good heroes. So it is likely that they're going to be on the enemy team. So that also makes the best part of this guy's kit bad. Jeff the Landshark doesn't have a lot going on for him. The best part of him is probably his movement ability, hide and seek. I think. What is that? What it's called? I don't know. Where he swims, because it gives him a lot of movement speed, heals him, like it makes him hard to kill. He can be annoying, and if people focus too much on him, that can be problematic. Like that can cause issues if too many people are trying to kill him in those situations when there's other people alive. If he's the last one alive and he's swimming around with the payload, yeah, kill him. You have to. But he's not good. I'm putting him in D tier. I think he is the worst support in the game. Um, Loki. Loki is good. I like Loki quite a bit. His healing with his clones is really good. Um, his little healing runes are super good. Like they can out heal most ults in the game. And then he's got the clones. He's very tricky. He has infinite stealth. He can use any ult that's in the match, which can be game changing. Pick the strongest ult there is for the situation and use it. He's got a lot going for him. Uh, he actually also deals good damage. The only thing is, he doesn't have a ton of utility for his team. He's got a lot of utility for himself, but not his team. He just heals them, really. Uh, so I think that's what prevents him from being S tier. He's also difficult to play. There's a lot of micromanaging with him. I'm going to be putting him in A tier. I know there's a lot of heroes in A tier right now. I promise. They're just like the good heroes just happen to be at the front of this list. Um, Luna Snow, S tier. Luna Snow is probably she's probably the best healer in the game. Um, she has really good damage and really good healing, and then she has the little guard for better healing, and then her freeze is incredible. It makes heroes diving the back line a lot worse. Black Panther dives the back line. gets froze by Luna Snow, that's it. Iron Fist dives backline, that's it. She has a lot of strengths. And her ult is so good. Just keeps it pretty much makes her team unkillable during that time unless Iron Man ults. Um, but even then, if Iron Man's ulting, you can have someone like Hulk stop it. But her ult's very good. Uh, and for some reason, if you just spam her ult to swap between damage and healing on it, the damage boost and healing, it will just give the benefits of both. That needs to be fixed, so it can't be done that way. Um, but yeah, incredibly powerful. Magic. Magic is pretty good. Uh, she's like a bruiser. She does have one-shot combos and a lot of combos to learn with her. She's got pretty good survivability. One of her one-shot combos leaves her with two teleports, so it gives her a way out too. Um, and her teleport is up pretty frequently, so it's hard to actually even hit her with things. Good magic can disrupt your backline quite a bit. She can cause a lot of chaos to your supports. Uh, Luna Snow going to freeze her. If timed correctly, you can just teleport to dodge it. Really no way to block Mantis Sleep. That's just gonna get you when you're playing Magic. But Magic's pretty good. I don't think she's quite as powerful as Black Panther in terms of a melee hero, but she does have good strength. Her ult though, I don't think is super impactful. Um, there's a lot of ults when I hear them go off. I worry for that fight. If Luna Snow ults, I'm like, this fight just got 10 times harder. We're probably losing it. If Doctor Strange ults, I just sit there praying that I don't get killed. Hella ults, I go and hide. Like all these ults that I fear. When Magic ults, I don't really care. For that and her being melee, I think she's gonna be. I'm gonna put her in B tier. I think that's a good tier for Magic to be. Magneto. Magneto's a pretty good tank. I don't think he's the best. He does have good survivability with his bubble and his shield, but his shield is cooldown based. It's not like Strange's where he can just put it up and put it down. Magneto's right click is decent with in terms of crowd control and damage. His ult is hit or miss. The fact that it can be destroyed if it consumes too many projectiles is very counterintuitive, I think, because you want to use the ult to absorb damage to protect your team during its cast, but then all of a sudden, if you've done that too well, now you can't cast the second part of his ult, which is the meteor that deals damage and has crowd control, which is a pretty decent ability. It's not, I don't think it's as powerful as Strange's crowd control, especially because it can be denied if it just absorbs too much damage. And I think Magneto becomes a lot more powerful if you have a Scarlet Witch on your team with the sword ability. It's very strong. The only issue with that team up is Scarlet Witch is not a good hero. So I think it makes it not really worth bringing her just to get the team up for Magneto. I think there's better tanks than Magneto, but I don't think he's bad. I'm putting him in B tier. Mantis. Mantis is another S tier hero. Her ult is very good. It's just like Luna Snow ult. It can keep your team alive very well, and it gives them movement speed during it too. If your supports are both Luna Snow and Mantis and they communicate well, you can alternate using their ultimates because they do make the likelihood of winning fights a lot higher. So just alternate those ults. Never stack them, that would be bad. And they both have hard crowd control to protect themselves. Mantis' sleep is really good because it's a lock-on sleep ability that just takes someone out of the fight for a while. Uh, Very good. And she has the damage boost for her team, which is good utility. She has pretty good healing. Uh, I mean, better healing than Jeff. Uh, Very strong support. Moon Knight. Moon Knight, I find very annoying to play against. I get I don't like playing against Moon Knight, but I also don't think he is incredible. Just because if your team actually spends the time to focus killing onks, his strength does go down quite a bit. And his ult is also like pretty easy to avoid. It's not a huge area. If you get caught in it, that's bad because it probably is gonna kill you unless you've got some type of support protecting you from it. Um, his mobility is pretty good, but since most of his damage comes from those onks, I think it prevents him from being better. But I still think he's good. And when you do have those onks down, and if they don't destroy them, his damage is crazy. I'm gonna put him in B tier. Namor. Namor uh, is niche in his situations. His turrets on their own aren't crazy good, and they're really easy to kill. His damage output is actually pretty good, and his left shift as a survivability bonus is useful. He's really slow in it, but it is a good way to give yourself breathing room in safety, a little safety net. Uh, his right click's obviously just there. I mean, it deals good damage, but its best part is the buff to his turrets and the bonus shot it gives them. He's really good against heroes like Spider-Man because Spider-Man's hard to hit when he's swinging around. So the turrets being auto lock on is beneficial. Uh, Luna Snow's very good, so he'll often have his team up bonus with the ice turret, the little ice octopus, which just makes it a little better. And you can throw the his octopuses on places like walls to make them more difficult to find and kill, but they're still not incredible. Um, and he just doesn't do a whole lot outside of that. His ult is a decent crowd control ability that locks movement abilities when it hits, but it's a really slow cast, really low damage, and well, outside of the center, but it's easy to avoid the center. And with the slow cast of the ult, it's actually just easy to avoid the ult in general. So I'm gonna put him in C tier because he doesn't do a whole lot. I just think there's niche situations that you pick him, but his damage is okay. Penny Parker. I think Penny Parker, the lower rank you are, the better she is. And a lot of people will probably say she's S tier, very good. Um, I don't think that's true at all. I think she's good against people who don't know how to play against her, people who aren't focusing her little spider nest, who are just carelessly walking to mines. She is good at setting up defensive areas and chokeholds, but if they have a strange at the very start of the fight, they're going to completely avoid Penny Parker's uh, setup and just portal behind. And now all of her abilities have become useless. She does have decent mobility with her little web swing thing. It's not really a swing, but She also doesn't have anything to protect her team. She is just mines and area control. She does have self-healing in her little webbed areas, but she doesn't do anything for her team. Uh, Her ult is also super underwhelming. It doesn't it make like she's hard to kill during it, but the things she's doing during it are pretty minimal, not very useful. I think there are situations where she's good, but I think people give her too much credit. I'm putting her in B tier. Psylocke. Psylocke is super strong. She is the best backline hero in the game easily. With her stealth, able to just get her right up to people. Her left click, left, double left click, right click is enough to kill or to one shot so many heroes in this game, and it's so quick. And then you have two dashes to get out of there. Crazy powerful, crazy fast time to kill. You do have to get up close, but you just have to play her correctly, get in the back lines. Very, very strong and able to kill supports before they can even react. Her ult is probably the worst part about her kit, honestly. I don't think it's a bad ult, but it is slow to reposition, so people are able to get out of it pretty quickly. And since it takes two slashes to kill most people, and it alternates between everyone in the circle, the more people that are in it, the less likely you're going to kill someone, which is a little counterintuitive because normally you want to hit a lot of people with ults, but hers, it's almost better to hit less people with ults because you're more likely to kill them that way. Uh, Her passive is also really good though because it reduces cooldowns on her other abilities. Very strong hero, definitely S tier. Rocket Raccoon. I actually really like Rocket Raccoon. I enjoy playing him a lot. He's very simple, just hit and right click as an AoE heal is very straightforward. It's good healing. He's got decent healing, and it's AoE, so you're healing like your whole team the entire fight. His damage is actually surprisingly good too if you're doing it, but you do have to focus a lot on healing, so you don't have a lot of opportunities to throw out that damage. And his movement's very good. Double jetpack that he can dash anywhere. The wall run ability is very good if you learn how to use it. Um, these things can make Rocket really hard to kill, which is good for a support. Definitely the best part about him, though, is that respawn beacon. If you put it in correct spots, respawning someone every 44 seconds is really good. But he doesn't have the best healing. Like, the healers up here probably have better healing than him. And, I mean, he has like the little shields and jetpack boots that he gives to his team, but I don't know. His kit does feel light. Like it doesn't feel like he has a ton in his kit, and his ult doesn't feel as impactful as it should. I feel like it needs to boost more than it does. So I'm gonna put him in C tier. He's definitely better than Jeff, but I don't think he's as good as the healers or the supports that are up here. Scarlet Witch is said it earlier. Scarlet Witch is bad. Her damage output is shockingly bad, actually. Her little suck deals less damage than cloaks suck, which is a support. That is wild. Her little stun bubble is okay, but it's very easy to just not stand in it. It's like a half second stun. And then her ult is, it just screams kill me. She screams, it gives the little like exclamation mark with a long cast time. If the team lets it go off, it's going to kill people. But it's very easy to kill her when that thing's going off. She does have good survivability with her little phase shift thing, but it's just it's not worth it. I don't see a reason to pick Scarlet Witch over most of the DPS in the game because her damage output is so low. Spider-Man. Spider-Man is one of the hardest heroes in this game, and people who pick him are like very likely to just not do anything. But if they're good, it will be incredible because he's got a lot of one-shot combos. He has the best mobility in the game with the multiple web swings and stuff. And he's got a really good ult that has high damage in an AoE area and CC. So even if you don't kill people with it, it can stun them. And he's got CC built into his just basic abilities with the pull or going to them and the knockup. He's got a lot going for him. There's a lot of inputs involved. Very difficult to learn and master, but when you do, you can do incredible things with him. However, he is a mostly melee hero, reliant on cooldowns. His ranged attack is limited, and he's got low health, which makes him a lot easier to kill as soon as any crowd control is applied to him. So I'm gonna put him in B tier. I don't think he's definitely not bad. He's good, uh, but he's easier to kill than someone like Black Panther. So there's that. Squirrel Girl. Um, Squirrel Girl is interesting. Uh, her damage is alright, and she does have a stun on her base kit, which is good. She also has mobility, which is nice. She's pretty decent. There's definitely better picks out there than her. Um, but her base kit is pretty good. However, her ultimate is awful. It is so bad. When it goes off, I don't even realize that it went off. I'm like, it's just, you don't have to worry about it at all. But her damage is still pretty decent. There's not a lot to say about Squirrel Girl. I'm gonna put her in B tier. Star-Lord. Star-Lord's pretty good. He is hard to kill, especially when they know what they're doing. His time to kill is really high. His ult is very strong, and you can animation cancel it to get it immediately casting, which is really good. And just crazy mobility, crazy damage. He doesn't have any crowd control, but he doesn't need it. He just kills things. I'm putting this guy in A tier. He's good. Storm. Don't get me wrong. I love Storm. I actually love playing Storm. Um, and I think her Storm area buffing her team is cool. Swapping between the forms is a fun mechanic. However, most of the time you're going to be in the lightning form rather than the wind form, just because it's the damage form. And her E in lightning is a pretty good burst of damage. Her right click's a good burst of damage. And her left click deals good damage, but it's a very slow moving projectile. It's hard to actually consistently hit shots, especially the further away you are. She's a free fly hero just like Iron Man. However, Iron Man has this incredible beam ability that has no travel time. You just track people with it and it's gonna shred them. She doesn't have something like that going on for her. She's countered by things like Hela and Hawkeye, just like Iron Man is. And she has no crowd control. She's just damage and movement speed buff along with her fly, but her damage isn't anything to write home about. Her ult is decent. Uh, she can die during the cast of it, which is embarrassing if it happens. So you do have to be mindful when you're casting it. But I do think her ult's probably the best part about her because it's good damage and it's AoE and it moves faster than something like a Psylocke ult. uh, but overall, she doesn't have much going on. As much as I love playing her, I'm putting her in D tier. Punisher. Punisher's good, consistent pick. His shotgun deals crazy damage. His assault rifle is just good, consistent damage. Uh, his grappling hooks are a nice way to traverse the map. His turret is high damage, but it does make him quite the target. Uh, so that's a downside. His ult is incredible, though. It's crazy high damage, and he's immune to crowd control during it, which I think is mind-boggling. I don't know why he's immune to crowd control during it, but it's good. Um, his passive's okay with being able to see people after damaging them, but then his little smoke grenade is kind of weak. It's not the worst ability, but it's not crazy impactful. He is a good, consistent pick, but he's not. I don't think he is incredibly amazing as some of the better DPS in the game, just because they have like Hela and Hawkeye, for example, are going to be dealing more damage at range. Um, Black Panther and Psylocke are going to be dealing more damage by quite a bit. I mean, I guess Punisher has a shotgun, but Punisher also has no movement other than the left shift, so he's more risky getting that close of range. I'm gonna put him in B tier. I think that's a good spot for him. Thor. I think Thor's a pretty good tank. He's got decent survivability and he's got very good damage with that awakened form. Uh, Makes him a very good duelist as a tank. Additionally, against someone like Hulk, Thor is very good into a pick like Hulk, and Hulk's a good tank right now. Because Thor's left shift can be cast every 1 second, essentially. Um, and when you do that, every time you do that, you cancel the charge that Hulk has on Incredible Leap. So that's good. Thor's damage is good. His survivability is not incredible, but it's still good. I I'm gonna put him in A tier. I think that's a good spot for him. So Venom, I think initially Venom seemed to be a lot stronger than he actually has ended up being. Um, he felt very oppressive at the beginning. His shield felt like crazy survivability. He has really good movement with his swing and his frenzied arrival. Um, and he felt very disruptive and hard to kill, hard to deal with. However, Luna Snow and Mantis, really any form of crowd control, Penny Parker web stun, um, really hurts Venom when they're timed correctly. Because Venom, you get the most out of your shield by waiting to be really low on health. Because the lower on health you are, the stronger his shield is. So if you wait till you're really low on health and then you go to shield, but then you get stunned, now you're just dead. Um, so he's pretty hard countered by that. But when not played against correctly, he can still feel oppressive in those situations. Um, so I think there's that. His ult feels useless to me. Its damage is awful. The cast time is overly long. The bonus health is not great. So there's that. But I do understand why he can still feel oppressive in certain situations. So I'm gonna put him in B tier because I do still think he's better than Captain America, but probably worse than the rest of the tanks. Winter Soldier is incredible, actually. His ult is very good. I know that's normally not the ability to start him, but his ult is really good when you use that thing correctly. Just chaining multiple hits, very game changing, very strong. The best part about him though is probably his hook combo. If you hook someone into your team and then use his little knockback punch, you can get them even further away from their team and more into your team. You just like, it's very good. It's a ranged kidnap ability. Like Wolverine can kidnap people just like Winter Soldier, but Winter Soldier can do it from a range. He doesn't have to get up close to people, and his damage is good. His shots deal good damage. His little pulse ability uh, grounds people. So like you hit Iron Man, he's gonna come out of the sky. You hit Star Lord, he's gonna come out of the sky. Like he's got a lot going for him. His damage isn't quite as good as Hela and Psylocke, uh, and I don't think he has the best survivability. So there's that. But I do think he has a lot going for him. I'm gonna put him in A tier. Lastly, we've got Wolverine here. Wolverine. Uh, I actually don't think he's as bad as I used to. I still don't think he's incredible. Um, you have to know how to play him in order to get a lot from him. But even then, like the best Wolverines, like they'll look really good. It looks like they're doing crazy things, but at the same time, they're not actually frequently killing people. Um, because of how safe you have to play with Wolverine. You can go in, kidnap people, which can be really strong. His ult can feel powerful in very specific situations, mostly those where there is not a nearby healer to then heal away all the damage you just did to them. He does have decent damage, but it's just with how safe you have to play with him, it's hard to consistently get value out of him, and I think that makes other DPS more uh, what's the word? It just makes other DPS feel more valuable than Wolverine, because you just have to play so safe, and you can't frequently do crazy things. Even though when he does do these crazy things, it looks very good and he looks very strong. You just have to play slow. And I think for that reason, I'm going to put him in C tier. So this is going to be my full list here. Uh, you don't, you might not agree with it. This is again just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. Tell me what you agree or disagree with. I'm open for discussion. I don't think this is the end all be all tier list. This is just what I think. So I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. But that is all, and I'll update us when the next season starts.